Long before the World Cup, long before Barcelona, long before millions called him the greatest footballer alive. There was a small fragile boy in Argentina doctors feared might never grow normally. While other children ran freely across football fields, that little boy quietly injected medicine into his own legs night after night just for a chance to keep growing. His family could barely afford treatment. His future looked uncertain. And at one point, the dream that would later inspire billions of people across the world was dangerously close to disappearing forever. Years later, that same quiet child would become one of the most famous athletes in human history. Lionel Messi, a football genius, a global icon, a symbol of impossible talent. But behind the trophies, behind the World Cup celebrations, behind the endless comparisons to greatness, there was pain. The pain of illness, the pain of rejection, the pain of loneliness, the pain of leaving home as a child, and the emotional pressure of carrying the hopes of an entire country for almost his entire life. Because while the world saw magic every time Lionel Messi touched a football, few people truly understood how close that magic came to never existing at all. This is the childhood that nearly destroyed Lionel Messi. Before the stadiums, before the Ballon d'Or trophies, there was Rosario, Argentina, a city filled with passion for football, and inside a modest working-class neighborhood, a small shy boy was already becoming obsessed with the game. Lionel Messi did not look extraordinary physically. In fact, he looked unusually small, quiet, fragile, but the moment the football touched his feet, everything changed. Coaches noticed it immediately. Children older than him struggled to take the ball away. Defenders became frustrated. Even as a child, Messi moved differently. Not powerful, not aggressive, almost effortless. Like the football belonged to him naturally. His grandmother reportedly became one of the earliest people to truly believe in him. She encouraged him constantly, pushed him to play, supported him emotionally. And years later, Messi would dedicate many of his victories emotionally to her memory. Because before the world believed in Lionel Messi, his grandmother did. Then came the moment that changed everything. At around age 11, doctors discovered Lionel Messi suffered from growth hormone deficiency. The condition affected his physical development severely. Without expensive medical treatment, his body might never fully grow properly. And suddenly, football no longer felt like the biggest problem. Money did. The treatment required costly hormone injections over long periods of time, far beyond what the family could comfortably afford. Night after night, young Messi reportedly injected medication into his legs. Imagine being a child, watching your friends grow normally while you fear your own body may betray your dreams. Psychologically, that kind of fear changes people. And despite his extraordinary football ability, many clubs hesitated, because football is ruthless. Talent matters, but physical development matters too. And some people questioned whether Messi's body would ever allow him to survive elite football. The dream that once looked magical suddenly looked fragile. As financial pressure grew, Messi's family desperately searched for opportunities. But uncertainty followed them everywhere. Some Argentine clubs reportedly showed hesitation. The cost of treatment frightened people. And slowly, the possibility emerged that Lionel Messi's football career might collapse before it ever truly began. Then came Barcelona. According to football legend, Carlos Rexach and Barcelona scouts quickly recognized something extraordinary. Even while physically small, Messi's talent looked unreal. The famous story later spread worldwide. Barcelona reportedly agreed to sign Messi using a paper napkin because they feared losing him. Whether every detail of the story became exaggerated over time or not, one reality remained true. Barcelona offered hope when uncertainty nearly destroyed everything. But that opportunity came with painful sacrifice. At just 13 years old, Lionel Messi left Argentina and moved to Spain. That decision changed football history forever. But emotionally, it devastated him. Imagine being a child, leaving your home, your country, your friends, your culture, your family comfort, to chase a dream nobody could guarantee would succeed. Messi arrived in Barcelona emotionally isolated, homesick, quiet, and deeply shy. At times, he barely spoke. Some people inside La Masia Academy viewed him as emotionally withdrawn. Others simply saw a lonely child trying to survive enormous pressure. Meanwhile, the treatment continued. The expectations grew. And despite his talent, Messi still looked physically smaller than many teammates around him. But once again, football changed everything. The moment Messi stepped onto the pitch, people stopped seeing weakness. Because his ability looked almost impossible. Coaches watched in disbelief. Defenders struggled to stop him. And slowly, the frightened child from Rosario began transforming into something extraordinary. One reason Lionel Messi's story feels emotionally different from many superstars is because he never appeared comfortable with fame itself. Unlike louder personalities in football, Messi remained quiet, reserved, introverted, and psychologically, many people close to him believed he carried pressure internally rather than publicly. As his fame exploded globally, that pressure became enormous. Barcelona depended on him. Argentina depended on him. Fans expected magic constantly. And because Messi made greatness appear effortless, people sometimes forgot the emotional pressure behind it. But pressure changes people, especially when failure becomes global humiliation. Over time, Messi experienced devastating heartbreak repeatedly with Argentina. Lost finals, national criticism, public frustration. At times, people in Argentina even questioned whether he truly cared enough about the national team. That criticism deeply affected him emotionally. Because despite all his success, one thing still haunted him. He desperately wanted to bring Argentina a World Cup. Not for statistics, not for headlines, for emotional redemption. Then came one of the darkest moments of Messi's career. The 2016 Copa America final. Argentina lost again. Another heartbreak. Another collapse. And afterward, a devastated Lionel Messi briefly retired from international football. The image shocked the world. One of the greatest players in history looked emotionally broken. For years, people viewed Messi as almost robotic on the pitch. But now, the emotional pain became visible publicly. Because behind the goals and trophies, Messi had spent years carrying the impossible emotional burden of an entire nation's expectations. And eventually, that pressure nearly crushed him psychologically. Then came Qatar, the 2022 FIFA World Cup, perhaps the most emotionally powerful chapter of Messi's life. By this point, many people believed it was his final chance, his final opportunity to silence decades of pressure, heartbreak, criticism, and comparison. And suddenly, the quiet child from Rosario once again carried the hopes of millions. The tournament felt different emotionally. Messi looked focused, emotionally driven, almost haunted by destiny itself. Then finally, Argentina reached the final. And after one of the greatest World Cup finals in football history, Lionel Messi lifted the trophy. The image instantly became historic. Not because he won another title, but because emotionally, it felt like release. Years of pressure, years of pain, years of criticism, years of loneliness, finally collapsing all at once. And for millions watching around the world, the moment felt deeply human. Not simply sporting greatness, Emotional survival. Today, Lionel Messi remains one of the greatest footballers in history. His talent feels almost supernatural. His achievements became legendary. But behind the success story, there is also a painful human story. A child battling illness. A family fighting financial pressure. A teenager suffering loneliness far from home. A quiet introvert carrying impossible expectations for decades. And perhaps that is why Lionel Messi connects emotionally with so many people beyond football itself. Because his story is not built around dominance. It is built around resilience, fragility, pain, sacrifice, and the terrifying uncertainty of whether dreams survive suffering. Because sometimes, the strongest people are not the loudest ones. Sometimes, they are the quiet children fighting battles nobody else can fully see. If you enjoyed this documentary, subscribe to True Crime Story Vault for more psychological sports stories, emotional celebrity documentaries, hidden struggles behind fame, and powerful untold stories of greatness and sacrifice. And remember, sometimes the people who look the calmest on the outside are carrying the deepest pain inside.